Hey, welcome to the Closing Beat, everybody. Happy Monday. How you doing out there? Hope you're having a good day out there. All is good with you. This is our quick stock market update show. We call it the Closing Beat. Try to do something a little different for you guys. Just cover how things are going, give you some education along the way. Hopefully teach you something that you didn't know. We are teaching advisors here at Jazz Wealth. Hope you'll check us out at jazzwealth.com. That's what we do. We like to be financial advisors. We do manage our own investments, things like that, but we also like to teach and let you guys know how things work. So every Thursday we do a class for our customers in our own little private library. Hope you'll check it out. Anyways, let's get started. We start off the week here with a little bit of green, right? A little bit of green on the day. You can see across the board there, positive between 0.5% and almost 2%, 2% after hours on the NASDAQ there. Tech, right? That's basically the bottom line. Tech was boring for a while. Last week we talked about it. Hey, what happens if tech starts to bounce back? What happens if it keeps selling off? You got the idea there that that's kind of leading the way. If you look at the NASDAQ, that was your best performing index of the day. We'll go over and check that out. Best performing index of the day. Yeah, let me just make sure. Oh, that was tinkering around this weekend. I want to make sure. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, NASDAQ, a little bit of a bounce today. Of course, that was your leading sector overall. Is it back? Does that mean that the NASDAQ is back? We're headed back to new highs and everything? We'll see what happens. NASDAQ was led by, let's say, FANG plus Microsoft plus Tesla, right? So Amazon was one of the bigger leaders on the day, 1.5% gain on the day. You can look through all of them there. If you look through Netflix, obviously that was one of the better ones, up 3% on the day. I'll point out Microsoft, not typically a FANG name, 1.25%. That was one of the big leaders there and one of the big helpers overall. And then you got Tesla, roaring back $122, 8.5% on the day. The Dow was the weakest area, although it was a good day. It was just the weakest area, bouncing right off the 200-day moving average, which is always my red line if you're looking at the charts there. What held it back a little bit today was Boeing and the insurers. So Boeing down 2% on the day, breaking through the 50-day moving average. And then you have United Health, just a little bit weak, about a 0.75% down day for United Health, and Travelers as well, pulling back after trying to get over the 200-day moving average. So that was really what held it back, and those three stocks held back the Dow to the tune of about 0.25%. So had we had that today, we almost would have had a 1% gain in the overall Dow. If you take a look at the S&P, here we go. The S&P bouncing back in this general area. 3230 has been a trouble spot for the S&P for quite a while. We talked about this over the last couple weeks, breaking through 3230, retracing back. In fact, our notes from Jazz email this week was essentially just, hey, a little bit of good, a little bit of bad. That's what the markets did last week. This week, obviously, people are hoping for earnings and everything to help us out. We've got a really busy week with earnings. Earnings coming out, hundreds and hundreds of names reporting this week. I'll just try to highlight the ones that maybe you guys are into. We could probably talk about many of them, but that's that. You got stimulus positioning there in the White House and, of course, in Congress, what they're working on doing. So expect that news when we're not going to work out a deal, and then the markets fall, and then, we're going to figure something out. It's going to be that game this week. You've got Fed news coming out and a whole lot more, economic numbers and everything. So it's going to be a busy week. Let's take a look at the S&P real quick. Given where we're at right here, we are now 29 weeks through the year. And so just for fun, if you want to go through and check something out here, we've got the performance of the stock market 29 weeks into the year on your bottom right-hand corner there, the average performance. If you take a look at that, looking back over the last series of years there, we went back and plotted them. It's down here, by the way. All in all, this kind of looks average, doesn't it? Like typically the stock market doesn't perform well in the first 29 weeks. Not that 29 weeks is any measure of anything. It just happens to be that we're through 29 weeks. So if you take a look there, we typically don't see an average gain in the first 29 weeks as measured by that. No, not breaking anything apart, not cherry picking anything. So the stock market basically being down, we would call it almost about average, maybe a little bit better than average. That's where you stand right now, which is really odd to look at that because you think, well, why wouldn't we be like reporting higher than normal? That's an incredible rally that we had there. So that's what you got going on there for the S&P. We're going to talk about the largest names reporting earnings tomorrow. I'll give you a spreadsheet, give you all kinds of good stuff there. But I'll tease that. Before I do that, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, our 3 FinTips videos for the week. Today, we had 4 retirement mistakes so that you don't go broke in retirement. Some really good things in there. I hope you'll check it out. Being efficient about Roth conversions and how you withdraw, how you deposit money, using a few great examples. So maybe check that out. We're going to talk about RMDs, required minimum distributions, on Wednesday. Those are... they get a little complicated. I'm going to try to simplify it there and give you a general overview on Wednesday. And then Friday, we've got the CARES Act expiring, right? The CARES Act is technically over on Friday. There'll be some new stimulus or something there. But how does that affect your student loans? So we're going to talk about that. If you happen to have student loans, you know you haven't been paying for them lately. We're going to go into detail about those as well. Let's do that now. I'm going to show the big stocks, big names reporting earnings there tomorrow. Ta-da! Here you go. Didn't get a chance to rank these by market cap, but we did include the market cap in there so you could tell the different stocks that are reporting. In fact, these guys currently are alphabetical, so if you take a look through it, what we did is included a couple good stats for you. You may want to take a screenshot if this is something you're into. Tomorrow, we included the name of the stock, the market cap, when they report, morning or afternoon, their stats, how often they beat on earnings, how often they beat on revenue. Guiding higher is not so important this earnings season, but then we put the average gap to expect, whether it was something or anything at all, so you can get a feel for volatility. We put the average full day percentage return for these stocks given their entire history, that's available of course, and then the overall volatility, plus or minus what's expected for that move. The more volatile stocks are going to be in the tech space, as you could see. You've got Akamai in there. I don't know why AMD made it in the mix. Akamai in the mix there. You've got Dexcom reporting earnings tomorrow. Yep. And so that's that one there. Looking through some of these other ones in here. Careful when you look at things like this, right? Raytheon with 100, beating 100% of the time. Remember, that's a split or spin-off there, so there's not a lot of data points. I should have actually put the data points for you. We're going to talk about Visa here a little bit later. They have a good history of beating on earnings, but you'll notice that you also have the two exchanges, S&P Global, great reporting history there, and MSCI, not technically an exchange, but in that category, they're going to be reporting as well. Visa probably ranks as the best in terms of beating on earnings with the most amount of earnings reports to go by. So if you're going by quantity, also happens to be the largest company reporting as well tomorrow, so maybe something to take a look at. Starbucks is in the mix. That'll likely get some attention. Sherwin-Williams is a recent breakout. If you happen to be looking there, that's at the bottom of the list. There's just all kinds. I mean, we can go through this from healthcare to technology, which will likely get the attention. You got consumer staples in there. You got McDonald's in there. What I just really wanted you to do was see the level of volatility to be expected from these stocks. Dexcom is one that is more volatile. Not a lot of data points for them. Somewhat of a newer company there, but obviously a killer performer in terms of overall performance. We'll cover this stock here in just a little bit as well. So there you go. Those are some of the largest names that will be up to report tomorrow. And maybe we'll continue that going forward there. So maybe we'll do that for the day after and so on and so on. Let's see how it goes. You like that? Let me know in the comments below if you like that sort of thing. Otherwise, we'll move on. Let's go to the sector breakdown here and talk about what's going on in the overall sectors. Energy, financials, utilities, they were the only ones in the red today. Like I said earlier, tech was the leader today, 1.5%, bouncing back from last week's sell-off and sort of the week before. You got Apple recovering back above the 20-day moving average, looking a little bit better there. Microsoft as well. We already talked about that. No need to go into it again. Visa with their earnings. I mentioned that a second ago. Visa and MasterCard, very interesting technical patterns here. So if you like looking at the charts here, you've got a series of highs for Visa. You've also got something very similar going on in MasterCard, right? It broke through this little tiny downtrend. We talked about that. Hasn't really achieved anything since then. Has not been able to get over the prior highs. We'll see. Any response to Visa's earnings could naturally help it out going into tomorrow. So we'll see. That's going to be an active area if you're participating in the tech space. This is fintech, as they say it. Qualcomm also quickly reversing all of last Thursday and Friday's losses there, headed back up to these highs. Thought that kind of looked interesting as well. It was also one of the better performers today in our research center there. I hope you'll check out our research offering if you can't be a customer of Jazz, right on our website. In the research center, we went through this name along with others that have lots of international exposure, where the dollar's at and gold and everything. Really kind of a detailed explanation of what to expect there, so I hope you'll check that out. But QCOM, one of those that stands out today. There's a quick recoverer. Basic Materials hitting new 52-week highs there. Now fully erasing all of the virus declines. That's going to be from your February 19th down to March 23rd low that we talk about there. In materials, Newmont is a gold mining stock that we took a look at this weekend as well, or in our research center as well. But you got Newmont coming up there. Earnings. Earnings, July 30th for Newmont, already hitting new 52-week highs. That's going to be because of the price of gold. Any gold mining stocks, for the most part, did well today. We'll cover gold in a second. Dow's kind of a funky little pattern here, up 3% today, right around the 200-day as if it doesn't exist. Looks like it's waking up. You got a series of higher lows. Find that kind of interesting, right? Above the 50-day moving average. Lots of technical reasons to be excited about Dow, and that was one of your better performers in that category today. Utilities, as I mentioned, one of the areas that was weak on the day. It is moving slower than the overall stock market to the tune of 7%, meaning the stock market's up here, utilities are here. It's dragging behind the stock market in general by about 7%. It typically does drag a little bit behind, so that's nothing alarming. Duke Energy sticks out as relatively weak. Take a look at this high right here. See this high on Duke Energy? Now I'm going to go back to utilities. See how it's higher? Duke Energy showing relative weakness there in the short term. I didn't check their earnings for you, but that one stands out as one of the weaker ones just in the short term here for utilities. It was sort of weaker than others. One of the volatile names today was American Electric. It's kind of interesting. It's a political report that came out that they were supporting a group that was enabling the whole nuke bailout in Ohio to get passed. And that came out, so a little bit of volatility there. You know how that goes when politics get mixed in with business. You got transports, one of the least volatile sectors here over the last week and a half or so. Over the last 6 to 7 days, basically what's happened is for every UPS, which had a great day today, you had something like an Avis, which had a down day. So you've got this sector overall, which has then become this tug of war. Can't seem to get anything done, can't seem to get anything done to the downside. Right now, obviously, it's just, you would put it in a semi-bullish stance, given where it's holding and kind of consolidating and everything. But basically, that's what happened. Every day, there's been just as many strong stocks as weak stocks that have weighted the sector down lower. Semiconductors hitting new 52-week highs. That's going to continue to be exciting because you saw the earnings list earlier that are reporting tomorrow. There's some of those in the mix. Home builders, thought that was interesting. Back to new highs, officially erasing the virus decline there. And financials, a little bit weak on the day, unable to perform, and so were the regionals as well. Just can't get anything going. What did get something going today was gold. It's new highs there. Volume is higher. Everything is higher on this one. It seems that the word is out that gold is moving higher. 6 days, it's had above average volume. It's up $33 today to up 2% really. And that took your gold miners along as well. And although gold and gold miners got all the excitement, gold miners up 50% by the year to date. Although that got all the excitement, silver is where all the action is in terms of returns. Silver beating, just beating by a whole lot there, right? So silver, I think, beat by 3 times in terms of returns there. So something to point out there. Also, the dollar hitting new lows. Talked about this in the research section if you want to kind of get an update today. That's what's going on. The dollar hitting new lows overall. It is now getting extended. You expect to see a short-term snapback. If we look at something like the euro, it's the exact opposite. This is the ETF of the dollar versus the euro. And the euro obviously much stronger than the dollar at the moment, but extended to the upside. So that's not really a sector, but just thought that'd be kind of fun to point out there. All right, number of new highs and everything. Let's do that one today. You officially had 17 new 52-week highs on the day. A very spread out number. Not 27. It was 17 new 52-week highs today, and no new lows. No new lows at all. 8 different sectors in the 17 new highs. We talked about Newmont there just a second ago. Sherwin-Williams is a notable one because of the recent breakout there. Something to check out. In the REIT space, EQIX is one of the stronger ones in the group and has been one of the stronger ones in the REIT space, which is important because that sector is that's looking pretty rough. You've got PLD, which is also in the REIT space, tech REIT space, looking pretty good. And then at the bottom there, we've got Take-Two. Very strong today, continues to be strong. The stay-at-home, play games sort of thing going on there. By the way, went to GameStop over the weekend, and I was going to buy something. And the website said that they had plenty available. I get there, they had none available. And when they looked at all their other stores, they actually didn't have the product at all. So, come on, GameStop. They are struggling, as you might know if you happen to be looking at that stock. GME is the ticker symbol. All right, let's go over to a watch list here and do something cool. Are you ready for this? What we're going to do, you've got a list of stocks there. What I want to kind of do, hopefully every day, I'll try my best, I want to point out stocks that we found for a particular reason. Not telling you to buy them, nothing special, but what I want to do is give you ideas on how to look for ideas versus just going, I don't know, everybody's trading this, I'll go buy that. Yay, Tesla, right? So how do you find interesting stocks? So what we're looking at today, I'll start with Dexcom to give you a picture. What we're looking for are stocks that are outperforming the stock market, right? The S&P 500. We want them to be outperforming the market by at least double digits. That's it. We just want to see really strong stocks to start. Now, to fine-tune that scan, what we then wanted to do is say, how about stocks that are really strong compared to the market, up double digits versus the market? But what I don't want is to buy stocks that are so extended. What I want to do is I want to look for stocks that are pulling back, right? Market's strong, the individual stocks are stronger than the market, but at the moment they're pulling back. I don't want to see something that's up 7 days in a row or something like that. So that's what I asked for. Then adding one more little piece to the puzzle, we wanted to say that generally we wanted the stock to be in an uptrend, and so one of the easiest ways to do that is just say it has to be above the 50-day moving average. In this case, that's the blue line on the chart. So Dexcom, outperforming the stock market by more than 10% year to date. It is currently pulling back, although somewhat shallow, and it is also above the 50-day moving average. That watch list that you see on your screen is just a little bit of a list of those. I think there was 26 or 29 of those overall. You can see Amazon pulling back there as well. Regeneron in the biotech space to give you a little diversity. There's an idea there. PayPal also outperforming the market above the 50-day and currently, besides today, currently pulling back. Couple tech names in there. NVIDIA, shallow pullback. Tractor Supply is working on it, so this may not be one you're interested in now, but it is one that is obviously outperformed. We've talked about it, and is currently pulling back. And eBay. Now, what I think I'm going to do is create the entire list and put that on our research site so you can see, okay, that's a scan. That's not necessarily my opinion. It's just a scan of stocks that are fitting a criteria, so then you can very quickly go, well, that's only 26 stocks. You can hover over them. Like what I would do is say, all right, all of these maybe go on a list. I don't like Regeneron. I don't like pharmaceutical or biotech type stuff. So you could filter out those and just sort of quickly come up with a list there. What do you think? You like the watch list idea? You may also remember that we have a couple others still on the list. CarMax trying to break out there, looking all right. INSEE trying to head back to those breakouts. Like we said, it's struggling a little bit. And on the downside, you got AVB. This is the REIT that is a lot weaker than some of the other REITs out there. It broke down again today. It continues to look weak. You have no reason to really change your mind there. Pretty cool, huh? All right, let's move on. Stocks in the news. Not a whole lot going on today in terms of news. I promise you that will change. You got Moderna up 9% on the day. They got a bunch of funding for their vaccine, the COVID vaccine that they're working on. Stock popping higher there, just money being thrown at them left and right. So that's kind of exciting for them. Hasbro breaking down, they missed on revenue. They had no real profit to speak of for the last quarter. But they said, don't worry, the holidays are going to be great. It's going to be great. People aren't spending money now because they're sitting at home, but when the holidays come around and hopefully the virus is gone, people are going to feel really good and feel really bad that they didn't give their kids a vacation, so they're going to buy them a lot of Christmas presents. That was kind of their argument there. Investors didn't like the fact that they didn't make any money, so that stock was a little bit lower on the day. Anything related to gambling or sports betting was down on the day, 6.5% for DraftKings. MLB canceling or postponing 2 of their games. I believe it was only 2. And so that hurt sports betting overall because that was just starting to get back up. Interesting fact, if you go on Google Trends and you want to search how many people are searching for sports betting, it's going up. I don't know about today, but it's going up. So people looking to bet on the sports that we really haven't had for a while. If we look elsewhere, you can look at Churchill Downs, also similar and involved in the space, a little obviously different category, but down 3% on the day. That's going to be because of that news. ATVI also looking pretty good here, up 2% on the day. S&P upgraded their debt to an A- on improving trends fundamentally for the company. So that's the kind of news we had to look at today. And then Amazon higher on the day. Nothing crazy there. Got an upgrade at Telsey, not really a big analyst firm out there, but 3,600 is their price target versus 2,800, and that's what you have for them. Okay, earnings tomorrow. Owens Corning, McDonald's, 3M, Altria, Pfizer, Raytheon, we already talked about some of these, Sherwin-Williams, Akamai, Amgen, Mondelez, those are Oreos, Starbucks, Seagate Technology, and Visa. Clorox is paying out $1.11 in terms of dividends. It's ex-dividend date, so you got $1.11 coming your way. I'll take my chance to try to answer some of your questions, and yeah, that's all I got. You like your DraftKings there as they start to pull back? Well, hopefully you get a better pullback there. We'll see. Oh, some of you like the watch list there. Where's the one person that's like, no, I don't like it? There's always somebody. You're out there. You like learning the technicals and stuff? That's cool. Yeah, we could do that. Oh, yeah. You think that's going to be, let me see here. Oh, well, it did already. It already spiked 100% in one day. What do you want? Come on. If you own a stock and it goes up 100% in one day and you don't sell, oh, man, I wish I could block you. You know what I mean? Come, if you owned it any point, even if you got in months ago and you got a 50% profit, if a stock that normally doesn't move 100% in one day moves 100% in one day, you gotta do something about that, right? You gotta. I like it. Oh, you like RTX there? Yeah. Is there a way to ask questions about a post on a research site? You had a question about today's post. You can ask a question. Unfortunately, it won't be answered. We're not allowed to answer those questions. That was one of our trade-offs. So actually in the agreement, you see it says you can ask a question, but we're not even going to respond. Not because we don't like you, right? Just we're not allowed to. If it's a technical support question, of course, we can help with that. But we can't answer questions on that. If you're one of our customers, of course, I can help you with anything. But that's a tough one because that makes me, I've seen some of the questions come in and it's like, it's like so rude that you don't answer back somebody, but I can't. You think Tesla's just trading on momentum? You think? Yeah, that'd be the definition of that, right? Tesla is the definition of momentum. Tractor Supply, also another name, trading on momentum, NVIDIA, Microsoft, things like that. Yep. Why is there like nothing on YouTube for growth investing, but there's an endless stuff for dividend investing? I know, right? It kills me. We have so many customers that are like, let's go do the dividend thing, and I have to like work it out for them and show them, if you go this route, yes, you'll have the dividends, but you won't make as much money. You're 30 years old. If you go this route, you won't have as many dividends, but you'll grow your money first, and then you can have fun with the dividends. It's a tough one. Yeah, I deal with that one quite a lot. Any thoughts on WIN or MGM long-term as a value? These are tough. They're really, really tough because you are predicting that things return to normal sooner rather than later. Even though it's a long-term play, what you don't want to do is put your money to work in something that's not figured out yet. I always take the position of, why do we have to buy it as cheap as possible? What happens if it falls, settles down, starts to rally a little bit, you feel good, the virus seems to be clearing out, their casinos are opening back up and business is showing up, you miss the first 5 or 10% of the rally, hop on the rest. That's a tough one to do, right, in practice, but I kind of take that approach with that one. Yeah. Harry, I'm more than willing to bet you on that. I keep throwing it out there. You just tell me a date that you think it's going to hit that, and I'll take the other side of that bet. Not that I'm against Tesla. I just don't see that happening. We can even do a split-adjusted bet in case they do split, or reverse split, or split, sorry. Yep. Smarter to use the ETF. I'm not sure the question there. You're trying to, when you say versus, right? When you're saying put together those two, are you saying is that like a some sort of pairs trade or something? Because you mentioned two ETFs there. Or are you saying one versus the other? I don't like the leveraged ETFs. So if that's the question, I don't like the leveraged ETFs. Yeah. Any idea what it takes for the S&P to break through your 3230 area? Continued downswing in the virus there, which we pointed out in our notes from Jazz email this weekend, how that is likely on the past the peak of the second wave there with the data that we shared. And stimulus, a solid plan on the stimulus that both sides can agree to. That's really all we're waiting for. Earnings season will, for now, for the next couple of days, will create all of our back and forth volatility, but all our eyes are kind of just on Washington, right? Yep. You think the small cap will be in favor this year? That's a tough one. I mean, it's had some really strong days. You can see where the small cap value and growth have been outperforming, but to stick with it, it's really, really tough. You imagine that's why people are focused on large cap right now. Could you do a video on what process a lotto winner or someone that came into a large sum of money would be interesting? We actually do have one of those. Not a video, but a customer that was in that exact position. And so I obviously don't have a lot of data to say, yeah, there's 1,400 customers here won the lottery or something, and here's what they did. But I can highly say it's individual. What's with the lighting today? It needs to be brighter. Yep. You like the idea of volatility. I don't like the product that you're playing with there, but that's your call there. Volatility bouncing back, you would expect to see it have heightened volatility around the election season. However, we could argue that volatility is already heightened right now. Stock market, I did this the other day, the stock market is almost back to highs, and yet volatility is more elevated than it was the last time we were back at highs, and that's just comparing two data points. So you could make the argument that volatility is technically already elevated. There's no reason for UVXY to bounce. I think that's likely the argument going on right now because you just don't see it. Yep. I love it. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there and make this thing brighter. Seems like a little bit odd today. I appreciate you guys watching for the day. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow to do this all over again with all the great earnings and everything that come out. Enjoy. See you later.